My name is James Tuplin. Before I came to the center, I didn't know that there was so many options available, and it's just, it helps a lot in the sense of there's a sense of community. There's a sense of somewhere for my child to grow up, and he knows all the staff, he knows all the other kids, and to me that's just something different than daycare. It's something different than just leaving him in someone's home for the day, and I wanted something better. Well, essentially, like, if we were be home all day, like, I could teach him so much. There's only so much I can do where, like, at home, where he's going to want to play and he's going to want to do stuff. But at Head Start, when you have an Aboriginal Head Start, they can structure, like a daycare, they can structure things more of a schedule for him, and that's what most kids need anyway. So when he goes, and like today, like, he had no school today, and he was sitting on the floor playing with his cars, and he's singing a song that I don't know the words to because I don't know enough Mi'kmaq to really have the conversation with him. But the fact that he's 5 now and can be able to sing songs and have small conversations and try to teach me, it was eye-opening just today alone. Like, there's so many things when he goes to public school next year that I feel like he's going to lose and miss out on that he's picked up so well now. He misses it, and I don't know, most kids will miss somewhere where they go anyways, but like, he talks about the staff, he talks about the people that come in and teach him his language because they bring in other teachers as well, and he doesn't forget them. So we can go somewhere and run into them, and like at a Dairy Queen, and he'll know them, he'll recognize them, and he's really excited to see them, and I'm really excited that he's more excited. And when he first started going there, it was the end of the school year, so they were getting ready to do their end of the year show, and they were going to have a drum and sing, and he was really shy and very quiet, which is not like him to begin with, but it was just new for him. And now when I see him at his shows, like, they're all drumming, and he's one of the bigger kids now, so he's more involved. So it's, for him to be more involved, meant a lot for me. Especially, I spend all my time with him, so. The respect level's gone up a lot, I find, just for small things. There's things that when I was small and native, that there was things that I had to pick up on my own, and I really had to learn for myself, where he's younger and he can see all these other kids and he can be with them and learn things, the traditional cultures, values, songs, language, things that I don't think he would have ever got for the last couple years in any other place, or just at home with me. Like, there's so many other options now where it doesn't sound like much, but when I was little there was no powwow in PEI, and then when I was little, the once a year powwow was somewhere where I could go and see all my cousins and see all my friends, and there would be singing and there would be food and family, and it was that once a year where I could really let loose and just camp for a whole weekend. Like, I can remember the first one, and that was 30 years ago. I was little, and so now when I take my son to a powwow, there's multiple powwows now in Prince Edward Island. Like, I can see him. It's me when I was little, but with more options and more availability, and the fact that he knows more now and he can respect more. And I don't really know how to put else in bigger words than respect. The fact that he can respect his own culture, where if we didn't have it, where would he be mentally on being native? You know, because I just don't want it to be stereotype native things for him to learn. I want more, and just for him to find it himself. It keeps me connected to the community as well, because then I end up doing interviews like this, and then I end up at a community function where I would never be before, and they're like, hey, come down for supper, and then there's rooms here where you could bring the kids, and everyone gets together and has a big meal, and then, like, there's programs here that are offered, and I feel that they're very important. But when you get down to it, it's just a bunch of people come together in one, like, at a couch like this. And there's times where I've had almost better therapy just sitting on this couch talking to people that I barely know, but we all come here together, and we're here for the same reason, basically. And when you have that little bit of connection, all it takes is a house, and then somewhere for people to go. And then we built our own community just out of sitting on a couch talking to each other. So that leads to bigger, better things. That leads to more and more functions. That leads to a bigger, better head start. When the funding shows that things are being used, I find it gets bigger and better. And that's all you can do is just keep showing up. Having a better understanding on where we came from and how we got here to this day. Because when I was little, the school books weren't written properly, and I was a hunter-gatherer, and that's all I knew I was, and they didn't teach us about Thanksgiving properly. They didn't teach us things properly. I can remember when I was little seeing the old school books go out and then bringing new school books in that were never touched before, and having the information from two different books be different. And I can remember picking that up myself and then asking the questions to the teacher, and they never really had a clear answer because they were never taught it either. That they were only taught what they were taught, and that's all they could teach me. But now I find, especially today, there's so much more availability and so much more options to really delve into the culture and to know where we're from. I didn't get that when I was little. There was no available options for anything like that. Nothing that I can remember. I want to say I can remember something, but there was nothing. I just don't want it to be gone for good. There's weird generation gaps where some natives can speak perfect Mi'kmaq and I can't. And I don't know if it was from the 70s and 80s and 90s where they just didn't want to. I don't get it, but I find now that there's more children that can teach me things now and that was never available before. I don't know. It's different when you grow up in Prince Edward Island because, like, I lived off reserve my whole life, but I've also been on reserve and have family on reserve, and they don't know anymore. The only thing I found more that they had was a stronger bond to each other. And I missed out on the bond of being native with them. I mean, I grew up in white schools in Charlottetown. You really don't get anything. Like, I have an 8-year-old that went to Head Start, and now she's in school, and she's lost some of her teachings from when she was little. And she can remember the teachers, but she can't remember the words to the songs. And I find, like, it's on me now to really push it onto her, because there's nothing available for her in school. And you can see the disconnect between Head Start and public school, where there's that little bit of add culture representation to your day. When that goes away, it really goes away. Like it when you stop practicing something, you lose it altogether. And I find that's a really big disconnect now. I'm scared for my son next year when he goes to public school that he's going to lose it all, and then I'll have to find more programs like Head Start to pick up after school or something, like an after school program, but there's nothing like that, so I don't know. I really don't know. It's got to be taught early and then stick with it. You can't just... It can't be a chapter in a social studies book. It can't be... I missed that class that day, and now I don't have any memory of being native or learning about natives or anything like that. It's got to be... Like, you would never go to Hawaii and not see Hawaiian culture and tradition, but you never come to PEI and see a forefront in Canada of... They try to add things in television a little bit more and more here and there, where they'll hire some dancers and one drum group. But there's more money in tourism geared towards violins and Celtic stuff in Prince Edward Island than there will ever be towards natives. And I don't know, the Irish population must be too big. That's all I can think.